Okay, good evening. We had a closed session, so our meeting's already been opened. I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Hope you enjoy the holidays for the rest of the year. I don't have any other comments, neither does the superintendent, so we'll go to the student representatives.
Hello. Oh, good evening. This past Friday, students from American History High School in Newark came to visit High School South as part of our Teaching Youth program. Our YTY students gave them a tour of the school and a rundown of the history of our school, and then they sat in on some of our classes. And in February, our Teaching Youth program will go to visit their school and do the same activities. And the purpose of this program is to highlight the differences between suburban and urban schools, as the students in the program at both South and American History High School are aspiring teachers. And Pirates are in the holiday spirit and giving back to our community as part of our winter giving campaign. Pirates for Paws is conducting a pet supplies drive for struggling families, and the Homefront is conducting a cereal drive for local families suffering from poverty. And in fact, many classes are actually competing for which students who can donate the most. And this week at South is Career Week, where each day during lunch, 2 people of different selected occupations come in to give students a talk about what their career entails and what their lifestyle is like. Some of the themes include computer science, social work, education, business, and law and criminal justice. And this past Saturday, our student council held its annual holiday breakfast. The event is for young children to play holiday-themed games like pin the carrot on the snowman, make crafts, and enjoy a brunch with their parents and grandparents. And on December 3rd and 4th, our orchestra performed its annual children's concert. They performed short scenes with themed music in between, and this year's theme was the Wild Wild West. Thank you.
Good evening again. I think it's on. Hello. This winter for High School North is very active for our musical and theater groups. Tonight, the Symphony Orchestra, Symphonic Band, and Wind Ensemble are hosting their final winter show. This coming Saturday, the 17th, the Philharmonic and Symphony Orchestras will be playing once again. On the next night, Sunday night, the a cappella group will be doing their winter show. And on the 22nd, next Thursday, the jazz band will be finishing our musical performances for this year. Additionally, Mr. North, the North musical has been selected for this year in homage to Dr. Seuss. We've selected the Seussical. As for North sports, basketball has its first meet tonight. Swimming, fencing, and wrestling, as well as ice hockey, are all on their way to their first meets as well. Our cheerleading team placed 3rd in the regional competition and qualified for the 3rd year in a row for the national competition.
Thank you. That brings us to the presentation for the 2017-18 Program of Studies. Martin Smith, I think.
Sure. Good evening. It's my pleasure to present this evening the proposed revisions to the 2017-18 Program of Studies. There are proposed revisions in the following departments: the Art Department, the Engineering Department, the Math Department, the Science Department, the Social Studies Department, and the Speech Drama Department. The revisions, proposed revisions are as followed. AP Studio Art prerequisite has been updated to specifically state the courses needed as a prerequisite or by portfolio review. In the previous versions, it just said that you needed a full sequence of courses, but did not specify what that full sequence of courses were. It now specifies what the 3 years of leading up to AP Studio Art would be, or it can be a portfolio review as a prereq. In the engineering department, which you may remember started 2 years ago, the Principles of Engineering course description, this is our second year of implementation, has been updated as the course has evolved over time. And last year, this year, we had a new course, Architectural Design and Fabrication, and it's proposed that we rename that course Engineering Design and Fabrication. In the mathematics department, we stopped offering Algebra 1 Part 1 this year, so next year we would no longer offer Algebra 1 Part 2 since there are no students in Part 1 this year for that. Also, we specified in pre-calculus that the criteria would become, actually this isn't really a change, it's what the criteria always were, although it wasn't fully spelled out in the actual program of study. So it's a minimum of 70% semester 1 course average in Advanced Algebra 2, or complete either Advanced Algebra 2 honors or Algebra and Trigonometry. The either in Algebra 2 and Trigonometry were always accepted in the past, but they were never explained explicitly within the program of study. So that's just an update to represent the practice that we've actually followed for years. In the science department, for chemistry and chemistry honors, the prerequisites have been updated to eliminate needing biology or biology honors as a prerequisite for those courses. In the social studies department, we are proposing that we add AP microeconomics. We've talked about this for the past several years, and we studied the AP microeconomics versus macroeconomics, and for a variety of reasons, both in terms of the course sequences that generally tend to be offered at the college level, and also looking at how students generally tend to do in those courses, we're recommending that we add AP microeconomics next year. And then finally, the theater department. We've had a course in speech drama for many years. It has not run at South in the past. It had run at North. It counted as an elective in the language arts department for a variety of reasons. It was not able to count as a theater or visual and performing arts class, but now we are proposing that we move that class into a theater department, and it become a theater arts course as for students in grades 9 through 12, and that it can count for the visual and performing arts credit. And those are the proposed revisions for this year.
Okay, I have a few things I wanted to say. I wanted to thank Martin and the administrators and staff for your continued work on the high school program of studies. Over the last 5 to 6 years, the board has approved some important changes that continue to strengthen the learning opportunities for our district's children. Because many of you see the changes year by year in a piecemeal fashion, I believe it's important to provide a synopsis of some of the improvements made to the high school program of studies over the past several years. These enhancements show that the changes and updates are part of a cohesive plan to strengthen the learning environment for students. The progress made thus far was carefully constructed around student interest, rigorous education standards, state requirements, parent and community input, and preparing students for post-high school education and careers. I'd like to just highlight some of those things. First, with financial literacy. Beginning with the class of 2014, the state of New Jersey requires every student to take a half-year course in financial literacy. When this requirement went into effect, WWP had 2 full-year courses that would fulfill this requirement. Many students took the half-year course over the summer. In committee, we discussed how the district could allow students to meet this requirement without having to take a full-year course or a summer course. The administration worked to develop a course that meets during study hall during the school year. This course was implemented in the 2015-16 school year with nearly 500 high school students between the 2 high schools taking advantage of this opportunity, and reduced the number of students taking the summer course. Next thing is world history. Several years ago, a few board members, including me, raised the issue that the only core academic course without an honors level was the freshman year world history class. The administration worked to create a world history class honors. This allowed students with a strong interest in social studies to learn about world history in a deeper manner with a more rigorous set of expectations. This change was made for the 2014-15 school year. Currently, there are 18 sections of this class with over 425 students across both high schools taking world history honors. Now, the engineering department that Martin just spoke about. and also want to mention the marketing course. In 2014, the district created a new department in engineering. 2 sequential courses are offered, Principles of Engineering and Design and Engineering. Over 150 students between the 2 high schools are taking one of these elective courses. These classes meet the 21st century life and career state requirement. A new course, Marketing, which is in the Business and Computers department, began this school year. This course has about 100 students between both high schools and meets the 21st century life and career state requirement. I also want to talk about the AP level courses that we've added in the last several years. We recognize that WWP provided students with college level coursework in many of the subjects offered by the College Board, but the district was particularly lacking in the social studies area. So we also knew that there were many high school students who wanted to take these courses, particularly the AP courses in psychology and economics. Last year, the board approved the addition of AP psychology for this current school year. This year, there are 11 sections of this class between the 2 high schools. This is an unprecedented number of students for a new elective class. This year, the district also added AP Comparative Government and Politics and AP Computer Science Principles. Tonight, the board will approve the AP Microeconomics class to be offered at both high schools. We anticipate that this will also be popular, especially because this course fulfills the financial literacy state requirement. Additionally, theater arts and computer art and design are added. Tonight, we also improve a theater arts course, which will meet another one of the state requirements, this one in fine and performing arts. With this course, the district expands offering for requirement beyond music and fine art to the performing arts. This will allow those students with an interest in theater and performance to meet the state requirement by taking this course. This year, computer art and design was added, which also meets this requirement. AP Calculus students can now take AP Calculus BC. Another change that was made pertains to the sequence of AP Calculus courses. Based on student and parent input a few years ago, the math department created a path for students who were eligible to take AP Calculus to decide whether they wanted to take AB or to take AP Calculus BC by taking the A part of the calculus course during the summer. Also, students who take AP Calculus AB can take multivariable calculus the following year if they so desire. We will continue, the committee and the board will continue to work with the administration to enhance and broaden the course offerings for all our students, and I want to thank the administration and the staff for continued efforts to help the students in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Scott?
Yeah, so I do have one question about the prerequisites, specifically in the science department. Why are chemistry and biology prerequisites for AP chemistry and AP biology?
So the idea is that before you would take a college level course, you need to take a high school level course in order to get that foundational knowledge in order to be able to do well in those courses. We know that question has come up for the past couple of years, and there are very few. For example, when we looked into it, Montgomery is the only school we could find in New Jersey which allows students to go directly into the AP course, but when we talk to them, they do have some prerequisites. They have physics first. So all students need to take a physics course prior to taking those courses. In addition, they have a rigorous math exam, which they administer in the 8th grade in order to determine whether or not there's going to be entrance. But what they said is that when they moved to that, they found that the students' scores on the AP exams decreased, and the students' grades within the courses also decreased because they did not have the high school course first, which makes sense if you've never taken a high school course in biology or taken a high school course in chemistry. To be able to handle the rigor and the demands of the college course, you need that foundational piece first in order to be able to score at the levels that we're finding our students are able to score at.
Well, if I follow that line of reasoning, though, we've got, I think I counted 21 AP courses in our catalog. Why don't all 21 AP courses require you to take the exact same course beforehand?
Because there is a logical sequence of courses in all of them. For example, when you take AP US History, you've had AP US History 1 prior to taking that. Prior to taking AP Calculus, you had a long sequence of courses in mathematics, really starting in kindergarten, which is all the way through, and there's a whole series of sequence of courses that you can follow. So there is true. It may not, it sounds like it's the same course, but it's really not the same course. I mean, students have had foundational courses in every single content area until they get to the college level course. I mean, I can also say that I know that, for 12 years I did serve as a consultant to the College Board, and one of the things that we talked about often in committee was the idea that some schools would push students in 9th and 10th grade to take these courses, and College Board does not recommend that students at starting high school take these courses, again, because of the developmental nature of what you need to be prepared to do college work. They want students to be able to have those foundational pieces at the beginning of their studies in high school before they tackle a college level course.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with the prerequisite, for example, that students be in, say, 11th or 12th grade before taking these classes. I just don't understand the need to effectively repeat what would probably be a large majority of the coursework.
No, it's not a repetition. There's a very big difference between what would be covered in the course at the high school level and what would be considered foundational information in preparation for the deeper levels of skills that would be required at the college level in these courses.
Okay, I guess I'm just. Have we ever tried going without the prerequisites? I mean, I hear what you're saying in terms of talking to other districts, and I've actually did a little research and looked at other states and found that our practice is actually fairly common amongst high-performing schools. But it's not. But it's not also, as you said, there are other districts that have tried doing the AP courses without the prerequisite. Right,
and we know when we looked at, the one district in New Jersey, and they told us that their experience was that students struggled with that course, and that put the grades in the course, so therefore the grades on their transcripts, and also their scores dropped as a result of that. In addition, just the other evening when we had the curriculum committee meeting, we did have some chemistry teachers come and talk to us who teach the AP chemistry course, and there's online communities of teachers across the nation who come together to share information and materials. And immediately one of the AP chemistry teachers shared with us that yes, all of the teachers around the nation who are having to teach this way are constantly complaining about the notion that their kids are not as prepared to be able to do as well, and they feel frustrated that their students do not have the foundational knowledge which is necessary to be able to do the rigorous coursework at a college level. So from there, we've heard time and time again, College Board does not recommend it. When we've looked into districts which have done this, they have also said that they found that it's not prepared, and we know that our students are more than prepared and do exceptionally well having that foundational piece before they take the college course.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Dr. Martin. For chemistry, SCD 170, prerequisite is Algebra 1. And I noticed that the biology prerequisite was dropped, right?
Yes, that's one of the proposed revisions.
Okay. However, the grades requirement is still 10 to 12. I understand that some students took the Algebra 1 at 9th grade or at 8th grade. So can they take the chemistry class at 9th grade?
Students who would be eligible to take the chemistry class in 9th grade would be those students who are concurrently enrolled in Algebra 2. So fundamentally, that would be students who were in the A&E math sequence in the middle school because they would have completed Algebra 2. For the other students who completed Algebra 1 in 8th grade, most of those would be taking geometry, and so they would not be concurrently enrolled in. So there is a group of students who would be eligible for chemistry in 9th grade.
So for 9th graders, it's possible for them to take both biology and chemistry.
With the change this evening, it would be possible if they're concurrently enrolled in Algebra 2.
Gotcha, thank you. Okay, that's a big change, by the way. And because last year, I remember many parents complained about that.
Well, it was what we had previously, and then we made a change last year off the recommendation of the science teachers.
Okay.
And again, the science teachers do not recommend in general that students double up in their freshman year because there is a belief that there's a significant difference in the expectations and rigor at the high school level in terms of lab work. You go from a middle school experience where there isn't a separate lab to the high school where there is a lab period, and then the rigor and expectations of what the work is at the high school. And the high school teachers have found that in general, students who attempt to do 2 classes in their freshman year don't have the background to be able to handle the lab requirements. So the science department recommended that students have 1 transitional year moving between 8th and 9th grade, and then as they move on, they could double up in 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. But we have moved back so that those students who are in A&E could potentially take that.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to make a comment. I'm a member in the curriculum committee after serving for a year or so, almost a year since January. I just want to express my appreciation to the administration in terms of how hard they work on the curriculum changes. Over the whole year, I was sitting through all the curriculum meetings, so they've had a full consideration of recommendations from the teachers. All the supervisors also took into account some of the community input. So I believe personally this is a very good balanced adjustment to our curriculum, and I just want to express my appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to open it up to our first opportunity for public comments. The board invites thoughts and reactions on agenda items and items of concern from members of our community. Each participant is asked to give your name and address before you speak, and please hold your comments for 3 minutes. Three. For you, it's 3.
Jugang Zhang, 22 Saratoga Drive, West Windsor. Good evening. I'd like to start as a WWP resident and a parent by thanking all of you for your hard work and dedication to WWP Regional School District. Another year has passed by and we've had more communications between parents and BOE as well as school admin. Something has changed, others have not. For example, our love and support for the students are as genuine and powerful as it has always been. I also want to thank you for your understanding and the support for the WWP Educational Support Association. Scott, Louisa, and Taylor, thank you for participating in the BOE Candidate Forum we hosted back in October. Tony, Michelle, Dana, thank you for attending such events. Your appearance meant a lot to us. And Isaac, Rachel, and YZ, thank you for meeting with me and other WWP ESA members. I personally learned a lot from you, and I hope we can keep up this communication for as long as we can. And by the way, Dana, YZ, and Isaac, I hope to see you next year at the same forum. Dave, Martin, Larry, Gerard, who's not here, and Alicia, thank you for your hard work for the past year and also your support for our organization. I know we don't always share the same view, but that's fine. That's life, and that's why we need to communicate. I want you to know, all of you, how much I appreciated your responses to my emails, a lot of them, and phone calls, your agreement for meeting, and inviting me to be a member of the Strategic Planning Core Team. I've always been frank and clear about my philosophy and educational motto. I believe that we should offer students as many opportunities as possible. I believe that we should seriously deal with the stress issue by taking appropriate steps. I believe that people reach their highest potential when challenged to believe it is possible. I will share more details with some of you later this week during the Strategic Planning Core Team meeting. I look forward to it. Finally, I have some words for Mr. Power. Scott, thank you for your time, your effort, and your dedication in the past 3 years. I wish we had known each other sooner, but later is better than never, I guess. I hope we can still meet and talk just as two parents about mathematics, statistics, engineering, finance, and perhaps a little bit about the school issues. And anyway, I know how much work there has been and how difficult it can be sometimes, so I truly appreciate what you've done. I wish you all have a good holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Happy holidays first. And my name
please
is
give me-
Yang Xiang, 4 Windsor-Plainsboro. Basically, I'm here because I'm concerned about the development of the school district. Let me start by reading something I feel very disturbing. It's on the Carol Hertz website. It's about the teachers. Music teachers were told in September 2015 to lower their standards. They were told that performances do not matter, and practice logs signed by parents do not matter. When they asked the basis for these changes, the assistant superintendent yelled at them, "Because I told you so." When some of the music teachers asked to meet with the superintendent, he would not meet with them. Soon after, music teachers started resigning. After 6 music teachers resigned, WWP fired 2 more music teachers. The teachers fired were young, wonderful teachers loved by the students and parents. They were also just about to get tenure. Firing teachers right before tenure has happened repeatedly in the last 3 years. Teaching changes are constantly being forced on teachers, and teaching assignments change from year to year. Experienced teachers are assigned to teach courses in other subjects, not in their field. For instance, a humanities teacher will be assigned a science class to teach. This is their technique for forcing teachers out of WWP. This technique is well known and has been used by superintendents in other states to force teachers out. This is a quote. From my personal experience, I talked to a couple of teachers, and I had similar feedback. They were not happy. They feel threatened. So, on this committee, I'm glad to see student representatives here. I'm a little bit surprised there are no teacher representatives here. And so I would suggest first, let's start by having some teachers represented to have all the stakeholders here. We can get the whole picture, especially for the board directors. Secondly, how to get the feedback from the teachers. I would suggest an anonymous survey rather than some other ad hoc question. Maybe I'm wrong by talking just to one teacher out of so many teachers in the district. So an anonymous survey would give you a more representative picture of what's going on. I think teachers are very important for the district. Without it, I don't think we can succeed. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yunqing Li, 5 Banff Drive. Good evening, everybody, the respected members of the Board of Education and the school administration. With the new year approaching, I want to take the opportunity to thank all of the Board of Education members for your hard work during the past year. Your volunteer work inspires many young people and earns the due respect of community members. And in the new year, I hope to let you know some of my expectations of the Board of Education. And I think I'm pretty representative of many of the parents in town. So first, I hope that you can work even as hard or even harder for this community. First, to be open-minded and to be kind to all parents who reach out to you. Second, when you make design and changes of curriculum, I hope that you keep the need of all children in mind. Third, and I hope all the work you do is for the best interest of all children, not leaving out any segment of the student population. As I heard the presentation just finished by Mr. Martin Smith, I applauded the improvement to the program of study in 2017 to 18, particularly the part that loosens the restriction on science curriculums to give children opportunities to advance. While I congratulated on the re-election of the 2 board members, Louisa Ho and Taylor Jung, I also want to express my sincere appreciation to the service of Scout. And you have worked so hard, dedicatedly, on the board in the past 3 years. Although we may not see you as often in this boardroom, I hope to see you around in town, in other community endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Like to Catherine Foley, 29 Hawthorne Drive in West Windsor. I'd like to add my thanks to the board as well. And Scott, wish you all the best. It was a hard-fought contest, and I congratulate the winners. As we finish up the year, I just want to end with something really positive and remarkable. As I'm sure all of you know, I'm very proud and involved in the robotics program in this town and district. And the last 2 weekends have been truly remarkable. And I'm going to run through the list of accomplishments. I don't expect you to remember it because it's pretty mind-boggling. Over the last 2 weekends, in the first tech challenge, which is grades 7 through 12, the high school and middle school team Midnight Magic were the semifinalists and won the Connect Award for their collaborative efforts at a tournament. The Midnight Magic 2 were in the finalists and won the highest possible award, which is called the Inspiration Award. At a separate tournament, the Magic 2 won the entire thing, and for a few minutes held the world record score. And they track this across the world as these tournaments go on. They were bettered, but it was pretty remarkable. The WAGs, which is a Girl Scout team from the district, sponsored the Cookie Carnage Challenge and also won it. And students from the Midnight Inventors helped run the Cookie Carnage, helped set it up, helped take it down, and also provided staffing. The first Lego League teams, these are little smaller guys, ages or grades 4th through 8th, competed in the state tournament, and we had several teams from the district that were represented there, including a CMS team, 2 teams affiliated with the Midnight Inventors, a couple of Girl Scout teams, and also some neighborhood teams. 3 teams walked away with major awards, and then the Midnight Minions, an all-girls team, won the Robot Performance Award, meaning their robot scored the most points. They also placed second in the overall competition, and this year they invited 2 teams from the northern New Jersey region to attend the World Championship in St. Louis, which is fantastic. There were, just to give you a sense of what an achievement this is, there were 325 teams participating in this district this year, so it was truly a remarkable accomplishment, and we're very, very proud of them. This is the second time in the last 3 years that a West Windsor-Plainsboro team was invited to the World Championship. And there are about 50, at least in the past, there have been 50 teams from around the world, literally around the world, and 50 teams from the U.S. represented there. So this is a really significant achievement. I also just want to take a couple of minutes to recognize 2 remarkable adult leaders in all of this. One of them is Mr. Aaron Hurl, who is a brand new teacher. Oops. I'll conclude this in the second comment period.
Thank you.
And my name is Mei Ling, and Plainsboro 5 Sandler Court. So what a remarkable year. It's a year ago, most parents, was here, and I think that's the first time I attend the BOE meeting. And today I made my effort, try to be on time, but still, I cannot make on time. That really reminded me how much we should appreciate, all our BOE members. They all have have full-time job and far away, and they have to be here. Probably almost every in the BOE meeting. For me, I try to be here as much as I can, but it's difficult. I know, I truly appreciate it. I think most parents more realize how difficult this job is, how demanding this job is. And today, I come late, but I do know there's some change made for science program, which I really appreciate. It's come from, a lot of parents that start aware of the program change, how that impact. So to be specific is, the biology and the chemistry, which I started, letter, sent out by a lot of parents, to raise our concern to the BOE and also to Dr. Idaho and Ms. Martin Smith. And looks like it's very positive. And also, I do believe everybody is really trying very hard to work together, try to make positive impact to our school district and to our students. From my personal experience at the beginning, I'm quite concerned, for my son, try to pass the option 2 biology. He failed. And I really appreciate Ms. Decker, how to calm down my son to make him, able to go to the class, because he told me he's sick of it, don't want to go to the class. I'm truly worried about it. But so far, it seems fine, although I know we need to continue work on this. And meanwhile, I realize how much, concern our student can cause to the school, to the parent, and also the teacher. And I think, I understand where Dr. Idaho come from, thinking there's some kind of like the stress around it. Because sometimes the kids, they are young, they are so immature, how to manage their emotionally and also set up the right anticipation is something we need to continue work on that. So I do believe there's a balance, and we are working together into the same goal. And there's a lot of effort from everybody. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. Peter Sirik, Plainsboro, New Jersey. Yeah, New Jersey. Happy holidays to everybody. Last week I thanked you. A couple weeks ago I thanked you on Thanksgiving, and thank you during the Christmas time and holidays. So, don't take this the wrong way. I'm actually giving a compliment. Ms. Foley just mentioned about competition with these different Legoland and the robotics, and I think that's awesome. I think it's very exciting, and it's very healthy. I'm really excited to hear those things, and I know we had our differences. I hope we can keep that competition in our school and excellence, and realize that even though you're pushing kids, there's competition, there could be balance, it can be healthy, and it's very exciting. Our kids pushing themselves, pushing each other, really helps them strive. And I hope maybe in the new year some things could be adjusted, but I hope we still continue to excellence. I think the school deserves it, and I think we have a good staff to do that. So happy holidays, happy new year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Helen Yin. I live in Plainsboro. Actually, I didn't really prepare for say anything because I think Dr. Zhang Zigang is the representative of WWP ESA because I'm part of that organization as well. So I think his comments definitely represent what I want to say to all of you. But my only purpose here, I really want to test out this microphone because I couldn't hear anything there. So I want to try it for myself and also just say thank you to all the board members for your hard work for the past years. And I think we finally figure out a better way of communicating with each other. Although sometimes maybe the communication wasn't the way we expected, but at least we got our messages crossed. So that's a good thing. So I just want to say thank you again and have a very happy holiday.
Thank you.
Good evening. I wasn't prepared to say anything tonight. I'm not a fan of the camera. I heard it puts 10 pounds on you. I don't need that this holiday season. My name is Bruce Amastrelli. I'm the president of the Teachers Association here in the district. And I want to assure members of the community that teachers do have opportunities to express their opinions, whether they're happy or whether they're unhappy, to administrators, or they have my number directly, so they do communicate with me. But I do want to say is we have 854 teachers, thereabout, Alicia. And I would caution people to not misinterpret stress with unhappiness. Just as we've talked about whole child, David and I have also talked about whole teacher, and we should talk about whole board members and whole administrator and whole parents, because a lot of times when we have conversations with people, we can misinterpret unhappiness with stress. And there are a lot of factors outside of our district, inside of our district too, because we're a family here, we can be honest, but there are a lot of issues outside of our district that are adding stress to teachers. So I'd ask that you please keep that in mind. If you do talk to 4 or 5 teachers, I have the opportunity to talk to throughout the year 854 of them, at least twice. That's always my goal. So let's keep that in mind. That's very important. And I did want to do this privately, but I do want to, Scott, thank you personally for the time you put on the board and also for the negotiations team. And I'd also like to thank you very much from the association, from all the teachers. Congratulations to everyone who ran in the election and won. And one final point, I was planning on doing this later on, but I figure since I'm in the camera and I could blame the cookies for the extra weight, I want to say we're losing someone who I consider very important to the district in February and March. Our Director of Human Resources, Alicia Boyko. And we're happy for you, Alicia, but we're sad. But I do want to point out to the community, because I know the board office knows this and the board knows it, she's a great resource. When people are upset and I say talk to Alicia, that's calming. When I have a question, I call Alicia and she's a great resource. But I think one of the most important things that our HR department has because of Alicia is she brings the human to human resources. So it's a little early. I was planning to do this later on, but thank you very much, Alicia. Congratulations.
Thank you. Anyone else? You've already spoken. You can speak at the second. Only one public comment. Only one turn. There'll be a second turn at the end of the meeting. Okay, so I guess there's no one else. I'm going to take one item out of order before I get to the committee reports, because she happens to be in the audience, and it seems appropriate that after what Bruce had just said, we have a personnel item to appoint Charity Fuse as our new Director of Human Resources. Can I have a motion on that? Scott and Rachel, any questions? Larry?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Congratulations. Okay, that brings us to committee reports. Administration of Facilities.
The Administration and Facilities Committee met on Tuesday, December 6th. We continued our discussion of the 2018-19 school calendar. The committee provided the administration with feedback and has asked for multiple versions of the calendar to be developed for our review at our next meeting. We reviewed the most current capital projects list developed by the district architect, buildings, and grounds and administration, and as additional cost estimates are received, we will continue our review of the project list at future committee meetings. The committee reviewed enrollment initial enrollment numbers and discuss this in conjunction with future housing development in West Windsor. This will obviously be an ongoing discussion for our committee. Finally, we reviewed 7 policies and regulations in the 5000 series. Moving forward for a first reading tonight are Policy 5305, Health Services Personnel, Policy and Regulation 5306, Health Services to Non-Public Schools, Policy and Regulation 5308, Student Health Records, Policy 5620, Expulsion, Policy and Regulation 5530, Substance Abuse, and Policy 5339, Screening for Dyslexia. These policies, these policies and regulations currently exist in our policy manual, but they're being updated to comply with changes in New Jersey code. The next A&F meeting will take place on January 17th.
Thank you. Any questions? Curriculum?
The Curriculum Committee met on December 5th. We reviewed the final draft of the 2017-18 Program of Studies. An in-depth discussion of the science program and sequence of courses took place. A chemistry teacher from High School North and a chemistry teacher from High School South, along with the district science supervisor, joined us for our discussion on this topic. The committee discussed the current prerequisites and courses that students can take in each grade. A formal presentation of the revised changes to the high school program studies will be made, which we just heard, to the full board for a board vote tonight. The committee reviewed the district's ESEA, which is Every Student Succeeds Act, accountability school action plans, and recommends approval of the action plans and their submission to the county office. The committee also recommends an additional professional development consultant for the upcoming February Professional Development Day and recommends the approval of 2 overnight field trips for High School North Science Olympiad. The committee will next meet on January 18th.
Any questions? Okay, finance.
Okay, the Finance Committee met on December 6th. We discussed solar renewable energy credits, also known as SRECs. The problems with High School South's generation of electricity appear to have been resolved. Staff provided information regarding the pricing of SRECs. The plan is to sell SRECs twice a year, typically January and July. The committee also reviewed the agenda items for tonight's meeting and supports them. Staff discussed with the committee aspects of the draft November financial reports and how they affect the 2017-18 budget process in only a way Larry can discuss things. The superintendent discussed property development issues. Some of these developments could cause a significant number of new students as early as September of 2018. The district has little capacity to handle additional students. As a result, we could need to be spending some capital dollars to accommodate this growth in the future. Staff updated the committee on our unemployment compensation payments. A review of the year's past experience shows that the district remains in a rough balance between contributions into this fund and expenditures out of this fund. The committee discussed a potential board resolution regarding park teacher evaluations and student teaching. That's about it.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, that brings us to administration. Can I have a motion on items 1 to 5, plus there are 2 addenda, green and pale yellow. Rachel and Isaac. Any questions on the addenda, on the administration items?
Yes.
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 Yes. I just want to remind the board members that we just had our first reading on a number of policies and regulations. If anybody does have any comments, they'll be come up at a future meeting. But in the meantime, if anyone has any comments, please get them to them, Michelle or Gerard. Now, curriculum. Can I have a motion on items 1 to 8? YZ and Dana. Any questions on the curriculum? On the curriculum items?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Finance Can I have a motion on items 1 through 19? And there's a change. Larry, can you explain what the change is?
Yes, just a few little things that we got. The title of just before part number 5 are really change orders. There's several of them, and we will be inserting the project number in the first one, number 4810. Otherwise, they stand.
Okay. Anyway, can I have a motion? Taylor and Scott. Any questions?
Yes.
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 Yes. We both say yes. Okay, I have a motion on the personnel, and there's a also a yellow addendum. So from 1 to 3 plus the addendum, Isaac and Rachel. Any questions on the personnel?
Actually, I do. So I thought we were opposing the state on student teaching as a result of their requirements, and yet I see on here we're proposing to pick up some student teachers.
Right. The changes for the Department of Ed with videotaping goes into effect in the fall, with full year student teaching starting in 18. So the spring student teachers are still safe for that purpose. And once that goes into effect, we've talked to the different schools of ed and they know our position.
Any other questions?
Mr. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Y.Z. John.
Yes.
Taylor John.
Yes.
Mr. Chang. Yes. Ms. Ho.
Yes.
Ms. Juliana. Yes. Ms. Cruz.
Yes.
Ms. Cage.
Yes.
Mr. Fleury.
Yes.
9-0.
I just want to acknowledge 2 retirements this week. Diane Dunn, an instructional assistant at Community, is going to be retiring after 16 years with the district. And Kathy Kapp, secretary at Dutch Neck, will be retiring after 25 and a half years with the district. I want to thank them and wish them luck in the future. Can I have a motion on approving the minutes? YZ and Taylor. Any questions on the minutes? Those in favor of approving the minutes say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Any liaison reports? Any new business? Second opportunity for public comment.
I just want to bring a couple of facts to the attention of the board to clarify a few points.
Could you give your name again?
I'm sorry.
Just give your name once more.
Oh, sure. Yang Xiang for Windmill Court. Yeah. And the common theme I heard from the teachers I talked to, basically the administration sent assistant superintendent to the classroom to monitor their homework assignments. Specifically, they have to reduce the homework assignments. If they don't, their performance will be impacted negatively. And job will be on the line. They feel threatened. That's what I heard. I'm not saying this is representative of 150 teachers. I haven't talked to them. But I think this is severe enough, serious enough to bring to board's attention. And if you, and there are, actually, there is serious consequence already. Because the teachers I talk to, they can give me very specific objective measure. They see the students' performance dropped. It's not subjective, objective measure. I don't want to mention that because I don't want to give clues to who the teachers are because they feel threatened. They specifically told me, don't bring any clue to the board. I'm not relative. I don't have any relative relation with them or anything. Because I'm concerned about the kids. I have kids in school, and academic performance matters. And obviously, it's not appropriate for the teachers to talk to administrative staff, no matter how well-intentioned they could be. So I strongly encourage an anonymous survey on teachers' view on the reduced working load and the performance. Of course, if working load is reduced, performance is good, or even better, I'm happy because I'm not for the working for nothing kind of philosophy. But usually there is no free lunch. That's just common sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm James Watson. I live at 604 Plainsboro Road. I recently consulted with the township administrator in Plainsboro as a result of consulting with members of my community about an overabundance of campaign signs for Board of Education. The operating method seemed to be why post one side in an intersection when 7 or 8 will do. I learned from consulting with the township that most of these signs were placed illegally and removed by the township or removed by concerned citizens. And I personally witnessed the candidate putting signs back in those same locations. I think that it's not only is it potentially illegal, it's a traffic hazard, and it's inconsiderate to the community. We're well educated in both West Windsor and Plainsboro, and I don't think that it's necessary to have 6 or 8 signs touting one candidate at any one intersection in Plainsboro or in West Windsor. And I would like to see people running for Board of Education to pay attention. The township actually told me that this candidate didn't know what the laws were. And I think that if you're going to be posting signs throughout the community, you should do it lawfully. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mei Ling, Plainsboro 5 Seller Call. I want to mention one thing regarding the homework. I think, the couple of days ago, I started to hear from my son say, oh, I finally realized the no homework night really good thing happen. Why? Because, he started to really heavily involved with some sports. Maybe he go to fencing 3 nights per week, every night, maybe 2 hours. Then I give him a request. I said, you want to fencing this much, you must keep your grades minimal at A-. I can accept that. If you cannot keep your grade at acceptable level, you have to reduce your activity. So now I have to understand why, there's some parent or the student, there's a need to reduce the homework or give them more flexibility. Another thing I want to mention is during the summer, one of my sons, math teacher gives them some assignments that it's your choice. You want to finish all or you don't want to finish. You can pick and choose. But there's no demand for that. But they give them some option. I think that's a good approach. There's sometimes, there's a lot of way how we approach give more flexibility. And last Monday, my son have a major breaking down at school. He overreacted. I was so nervous. At work, then I received a call from the nurse. Said your son passed out. I said, what? Then guess what? The question is, it's no pass out. He upset about a very small, it's not even a test, it's a lab work. He got 78. He don't think he should deserve 78. Then he lie down on the ground, the people thinking he passed out. He didn't speak to them. Then they said the nurse called ambulance. So finally, I said, let me talk to him. So he told me, he said, Mom, nothing. He said, just I upset. So I can experience, why the school guys so alert. And then they say, you put too much pressure on your kids, we need to talk to you, you need to come to school immediately. So I come to school, then I found out, is my son overreacted, or also the school, I think the way how they take care of this, it's very positive. So they told my son, one test is not the end of the world. You need to learn. If you do your best, you should be fine. If no, then you need to talk to your teacher, So he told me, he said, Mom, don't go talk to my teacher. Let me handle it. I go talk to teacher. The second day he told me, he talked to the teacher, said that's the student grade is whatever the lab analysis, maybe something he didn't write clear, so the student, take all the points out. So the teacher gave him 10 points back, then he very happy again. But I think this, could end up negatively or ugly, but I think with the teacher, they wait for me from 4 o'clock until 6:30. Then I come to school, talk to them until 7. So get this, really have a very positive thing. I told the school, I say, he's a student, still growing, not mature enough, but he will learn from this. Next time he should not lie down and make other people so nervous about it. I think maybe a lot of cases like this in school can happen. Depends on how we, deal with it. And also, right now, there's other, the counselor also talked to him. His fencing coach also talked to him. So I think he's in good shape. I appreciate it. And I think that he started to talk to me. He appreciated the homework night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Catherine Foley, 29 Hawthorne Drive, and I apologize, brevity is not my strong suit, as you know. I did want to mention these two teachers, or these two individuals. One of them is Mr. Aaron Hurl, who has been teaching just a few months in the district, who was asked about 3 weeks before the first competition to take over 10 robotics teams, which is about 100 kids. And I had the privilege of witnessing his classroom management skills. He just fearlessly walked in and did this so these kids would be able to participate. Without him, I'm not sure they would have been able to. Also, I just want to mention Dr. Kathy Rogers, who's the advisor of the high school robotics team, who has implemented a very robust mentorship program where the high school students are expected to help the younger ones and also host events for them. Without them, this growth in the community couldn't have happened. And I just wanted to say the beauty of the FIRST robotics program is that it fosters cooperation among competitors, and I think that does reduce the stress. It's a lot of work, but it is also incredibly fun. The program demands gracious professionalism, meaning treat everybody with kindness and courtesy. You could have the best robot in the world, but if you don't exemplify these traits, these characteristics, these ideals, you wouldn't ever advance through the ranks of the program. Also, it's incredibly fun. I think it's the only scientific-based competition where there's a big dance party before the awards ceremony. It's really something to see. I just want to leave with my proudest moment as a member of the WWP community. It took place last year, just to give you a sense of what this program is about. There was a team at the state tournament, the FLL, the First Lego League tournament, who was in first place after the second round of the robot game, and they were ecstatic. They were thrilled. They were jumping. They were yelling. They were so excited. And then one of them discovered that they had been given points that they did not earn, and this was shared with the rest of the team. And they immediately, and I witnessed this, huddled, went to the coach and said, "We have to go talk to the head ref." They did not win that year. But I have just never been prouder. These kids understand that what you win is not as important as how we behave, and it was a very proud moment. I hope that you get to witness these kinds of things yourself. But it made me very proud of this community and proud of these kids. If you haven't had a chance to go to one of these tournaments, I invite you to do so, and you'll see why I'm a little bit of a fanatic. Again, I just thank you for all of your work, and I wish you happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all your volunteer work. Bruce Samistrelli, President of the Teachers Association. I'd like to share with the community that we have a special advisory committee called the Superintendent's Advisory Committee. And there are teacher representatives from each building, and they meet with the superintendent once a month throughout the school year. And this has been long going, and I have to give credit that Dave and I were able to make it more than just a committee looking at calendars, that we actually look at something substantive. And I just want to share with the community, coming out from the teachers' concerns, there are two ongoing committees that are working. One is a committee that is looking at coordinating our community service. There's such great community service that goes on in this community that they're looking to coordinate it across the building so everybody knows what events are happening for cancer awareness or autism awareness or for any event. The other committee that came out and is still working on their document is the homework committee. And one of the things that the teachers were looking at beginning at Dave's letter last year and prior to that is the amount of homework that's given. So we have been working on this and coming up with ideas on what is an appropriate level of work for students to bring home. Should a second grader be bringing homework home at all? You know, what is the proper level of homework for an AP student as a former AP history teacher? So I just want to let the community know that not only do we have a means to communicate with the administration, we're also very concerned about the amount of stress that we might put on students and how much homework we might demand. And we're always re-examining that. We are always reassessing that because I think to our core, we are all, as teachers and professionals, I would speak from the administrators to the teachers to the IAs, we are about the whole child. I often joke with people that I should write a book, and the book should be titled, Let Kids Eat More Dirt. Because we do overschedule our children, and they need time to grow up, and we are looking at that in terms of homework. The last thing I would like to share with the community is there are official ways that a teacher can bring up a complaint to an administrator. Teachers are bad at keeping secrets. I don't know if you know that. I would just have to reference the comment earlier. If an incident like that were to happen, I would find out within the day, and I also have representatives in each building, 5 to 6 representatives in each building who would call me immediately, and that would be dealt with. So I just want to assure the community that there are official means to take care of any such matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This will be the last comment. Yes, you can go.
Helen Yin from Plainsboro. Good evening again. There's some news. I think I can relate to Mr. Shang's comment. I have been talking to several teachers from our school district. When we talk to each other, they sounds like they keep their voice low and they try to make sure I don't disclose their identity. So I don't really feel comfortable because it's more like undercover work. So I don't know how they behave like that. Certain teacher, when they try to say something to me, their gesture makes me feel uncomfortable. It seems like it's I don't know. Okay. If somebody can explain it, but I don't know, I cannot comprehend. It's not like they can freely or openly discuss issues with a parent like me. Another thing is, while we are celebrating the robotics program in our school district, their huge success, I also want to bring attention to you is there are a lot of other students programs I think we need support. For instance, marching band and at High School South, we definitely need funding, and we also need effort to recruit more people. I think that's also a very, very good program. I love it, and I devote my time to it. I also try to be a whole parent, okay? So I love that program. I try to recruit more members to that band, but I think our district should also spend some money to that program. They practice so hard, they even perform in the rain, and they also support our football team. But we want people to show support, to watch them, to cheer them up. When they play their show in the cold weather, like 30 degree or 20 degree during the evening, I think they deserve a lot of audience. So that's another thing I really want to mention to you, and hopefully they can get enough support. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm going to just take a couple minutes to address a couple of the comments tonight. I haven't done this in a while, so I'll try to be brief. With respect to teachers working outside of certification, that's just not true and it's not legal. All right? Teachers must be certified in the areas in which they teach. That's plain and simple. With respect to process, as Bruce indicated at the podium, there's a process for which complaints and concerns can be brought forward. As he indicated, there's building reps within every building for the association. We have great relationships with our union leaderships and with our members and with our teachers. We have a very strong rapport when we're talking about issues. The Superintendent's Advisory Council, there's also meetings at the building level with building administration. Those issues come to me or to Bruce or to members of his association. It doesn't require Bruce to be involved for us to have conversations with teachers. So the idea that teachers don't talk to administrative staff is an outrageous comment, and it's not what we're about in WWP. We have ongoing dialogue and conversations with our teaching staff around all areas of change, and we're very proud of our teachers and proud of our relationships with our teachers. To say anything others is to disrespect that relationship, to disrespect the professional relationship in this school community. With respect to not speaking to a teacher or granting a meeting, as you can imagine, there's a process to any conversation. So if an individual brings up a concern, if a parent brings up a concern, they don't go right to central office. They start with the supervisor or the building vice principal or the building principal, sometimes with the classroom teacher or the guidance counselor, depending on where the concern starts. So if a teacher has a concern with a supervisor or a departmental issue, it doesn't go to the superintendent. If an individual hasn't had that conversation, they're asked to start the conversation with their supervisor or with their building administration. So if someone is portraying that they were denied a meeting, you might want to ask them who they had the conversation with before they requested it. With respect to something that Ms. Ho said in the Finance Committee, I think it's important to not lose the point of potential development in our community to be lost within so many members that are here this evening. On January 18th at the Planning Board meeting in West Windsor, join me in the audience so we can hear Howard Hughes Corporation present on their planning development, their concept plan for 658 acres over on Clarksville Road. Yes, I did say 658 acres. And to give everyone a visual, take Princeton University, put it inside of that, and you still have room. Take the footprint of Quaker Bridge Mall times 10. It's 658 acres, past the WAC, West Windsor the WAC, over the overpass by the train station, the train overpass there. And you'll notice as you're going out towards Costco or Quaker Bridge Mall, the road, it's the old American Cyanamid property on the left and right side of the road. When you tally that up, it goes all the way out to Route 1 and all the way to the woods of the Mercer County Park. So again, it is an enormous property, it's an enormous footprint, and there's a single developer that owns that property that's coming forward with some ideas about how they can build on that. So I would encourage you to come out and to represent the community, to hear what the ideas are so we can best see what the future impacts of this school district might be. As I said, I know I'll be there, and I'm sure some members of this Board of Education will be joining me. That's not the only potential plan. There's actually 5 or 6 other developments that we're watching right now. So there'll be more to come in future budget presentations regarding development. And I do think we have to be very cognizant of those developments and what the impacts are to this school community. Just with respect to the appointment of the Director of HR, with Charity in the audience, I just want to wish her congratulations, and we're pleased with her joining our central office team. For those of you in the audience that don't know, she's been the Assistant Director of Human Resources, working with Alicia for the past 3 years. So we're pleased that she'll be moving into the position of Director. And lastly, I wanted to say thanks to Scott for his service for the past 3 years. Being a Board of Education member is a thankless job, and it's an unpaid job with lots of time commitments, and they give of themselves freely and a lot of commitment to this district and a lot of lost family time, but they do it for the students of this community, and Scott's done it with grace, and I thank him for his service. And lastly, to the community, just happy holidays and a joyous new year.
Okay. And I just want to also close it with thanking Scott for his time on the board. He's been very thoughtful, and
Come on, Tony, find the words.
Not ashamed to offer his opinion, and but he's been an asset. So
We were doing so well. Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to ask him to make a motion to adjourn, which he.
So I will do so shortly, but I do want to say thank you to the administration. It has been a pleasure serving with all of you for the last 3 years. You've all been very professional and thoughtful in your jobs, and I appreciate all the effort that you bring to this community and that you contribute to the school district, making it one of the great school districts that we can have, not just in the state of New Jersey, but I would say in this country. And so thank you for all your hard work, and keep moving forward and pushing forward and making West Windsor a great school district. And I will miss serving on the board. I have enjoyed these last 3 years, but I'm not going away completely, so I'll stick around and offer my 2 cents as things move forward. But thank you again, and I do so move to adjourn the meeting.
And I'll second the motion to adjourn. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, everyone.